Okay, well, we looked at evaluating absolute value expressions, and now we're going to look at solving absolute value equations. And so there's a difference in what we got to consider when we solve absolute value equations. And the biggest difference is that we've got to set up two cases, because remember, whatever's inside the absolute value symbols can be a positive or a negative number. It's only when they come outside does it have to be a positive number. So we set up two cases. Let me show you what I mean. Let's look at this first expression, this first equation right here. So we've got the absolute value of y plus 2 equals 4. Now I'm going to set up my two cases. Right here is case number 1, where I've got y plus 2 equals 4. And over here I've got case number 2, where y plus 2 equals negative 4. Now that may seem a little bit confusing, because why the negative 4? Well, remember, what's inside the absolute value symbols can be a positive or a negative number. It's just when it comes outside that it has to be a positive number. And so we're trying to determine what y can equal. Remember, when we talked about the number line, it can be a negative and it can be a positive. So let's solve our two cases. We got y plus 2 equals 4. Well, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And when we do, we're going to end up with y equals 2. And in our second case, we've got y plus 2 equals negative 4. And again, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides, and we find that y equals negative 6. So our solution set to the absolute value of y plus 2 equals 4 can be negative 6 or 2. Now, if I were to substitute that back into this original equation, just to show you what I mean, okay, let's say y equals negative 6. Well, negative 6 plus 2 equals negative 4. That's the absolute value of negative 4. Well, the absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4, and so 4 equals 4. And if I substitute 2 in for y, well, 2 plus 2 is 4. It's the absolute value of 4. Absolute value of 4 is positive 4. 4 equals 4. And so both cases or both scenarios satisfy and make that equation true. Now, let's look at this one right here. Now, this one, we've got the absolute value of 3n minus 4 equals minus 1. Okay, red lights ought to be flashing, and here's why. When it comes outside the absolute value symbol, it cannot equal a negative number. So there's no other expression in here except the absolute value of 3n minus 4. Nothing else outside those symbols that could change anything. And so this one, there is no solution. And in fact, we show that with that 0 with the slash mark through it, which means there's no solution to this equation. Nothing will work. Now, let's look down here in the lower left, and let's look at this. We've got 2x, absolute value of 2x equals 8. Well, again, I'm going to set up my two cases. And here in my first case, I got 2x equals 8. And for my second case, I've got 2x equals minus 8. Let's solve. Well, 2x equals 8. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And when I do, I've got x equals 4. And on my case number 2, I'm also going to divide by 2. This time I'm dividing 2 into negative 8 so that x equals negative 4. And my solution set is negative 4 and 4. So again, let's plug this back in. If I take 2 times negative 4, well, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, but the absolute value of negative 8 is 8, and 8 equals 8. And if I take 4 times 2, well, 2 times 4 is 8. Absolute value of 8 is 8, and 8 equals 8. And then finally, let's look here at the fourth one. All right, here we got the absolute value of 5y minus 2 equals 7. Again, I'm setting up two cases. I got 5y minus 2 equals 7 right here. And then I'm going to have 5y minus 2 equals minus 7. All right, first step, I'm going to stay over here on this left side first. 5y minus 2, or case 1 first. 5y minus 2 equals 7. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I got 5y equals 9. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 5 to isolate the y. And y equals 9/5, or 9 over 5, or 1 4/5. All right, second case. 5y minus 2 equals minus 7. Well, again, I'm going to start by adding 2 to both sides. I've got 5y equals minus 5. And when I divide both sides by 5, y is going to equal negative 1. Now, let's say we go in here and we plug this in to see if this is in fact true. Let's say we got 5y. Let's say and we're going to substitute in first our 9/5. 5 times 9 over 5 minus 2. We got the absolute value of that. Well, the 5's here. We can cross cancel that. It's going to leave us with 9 minus 2. Inside our absolute value symbol, we're saying it's equal to 7. Well, 9 minus 2 does equal 7. This is the absolute value of 7. And 7 does, in fact, equal 7. Now, on my other one, minus 1, we can probably do that without writing it. Well, 5 times minus 1 is minus 5. And minus 5 minus 2 equals minus 7, but this is the absolute value of minus 7, and the absolute value of minus 7 is 7, and 7 equals 7. So there you go. I look at solving absolute value equations.